Hello, welcome to this video, which is a tribute to Rodgers. And I guess first I should start off with why I'm making this video now. Well, it's been about 1 month exactly since the last Rodgers moment video came out, so you know, you know, I wanted to, I guess reflect a little bit, seeing, it's been a month since, that video released, but for me, it's technically been longer, which I will, you know, now show, you know, on screen. Yep, and there's, the insane schedule. Yeah, again, very much insane. But it's been a lot longer than a month for me. 2 months, almost 3 months at this point. But I decided to make this video because basically it's since December 2020 is basically when Rodgers basically started, I guess, unofficially. Like, it's technically been 3 years. I mean, officially it would be when I streamed it, which would be January, like the 31st, I think, if I remember correctly, of 2021. So either way, it's basically been 3 years. Like, count this as 3-year anniversary video of Rodgers. I mean, this will be literally scheduled for the 15th, which will be technically a week after my third anniversary of the channel, which I still yet to make something for my third anniversary. I'm probably still planning, to make the Michael the SCP God movie. I just haven't dedicated time to that yet, but I'll probably have to do that soon. Probably in fact, since today's Saturday, and I don't know if I'm going to be doing my volunteer thing. It may even be technically tomorrow on stream, So, yeah. I might have to do it tomorrow. Just for, that I get done. So, yeah. But yeah, I'll have to probably get started immediately because I want it to be a big thing, like a big video, because basically my longest thing so far, I think, is the it's hard to be human video at like 5 hours, 37 minutes. So, you know, I wanted to be big, like 6 hours, basically, like, you know, technically a whole trilogy of movies in one, you know. Biggest movie ever, you know, you know. But, you know, it'd be hard to do that. But I want to attempt it just because I'm that crazy, you know. But yeah, nonetheless, um, you know, it's basically 3 years since, you know, Rodgers began, and, you know, basically like, um, 2.5 years since it, um, ended, because the final stream was of like the old Rodgers was like in June of 2021, so, you know, um, yeah, it's been a while without, you know, the old Rodgers. Obviously, you know, there's me doing Rodgers now, like, and I probably should do another Rodgers episode at some point. But yeah, like it's been a long, long time, you know, without Riku and the Rollers Rodgers. Sir William Riku Rodgers, you know, is basically, you know, hardly their former self. Same for, you know, Detective Blue, Detective Jack, um, you know, you know, even technically Al, even though I think I've done the best with Al, keeping them similar to their original self, but maybe I've gone too much in the direction of making them kind of angry, like overly, like constantly annoyed, because usually, you know, Al was a pretty composed person despite being kind of villainous. So maybe I've gone too much in the other direction because I felt like my version was too kind, and now I've kind of overcorrected in the complete opposite direction, you know. Hopefully it'll calm down and chill out with throughout time, you know, and be more composed, and I'll try and have a more composed Al in the future, but, you know, it's got to be a natural change, you know, for him to go back to his old ways. But, yeah. And, yeah. But, you know, characters, you know, basically, you know, like Boop Boop, Charlie, and others, you know, all have lost, you know, their original, you know, person that were behind the role initially. Now I'm doing them all, you know, keeping all the characters alive. Gotta collect them all, collect all the characters, Pokemon. The only one that, you know, you know, I technically haven't collected, you know, is Stuart. Well, I did do Stuart for a small time, you know, in the dark era. That's the era like immediately after Rodgers' death when I was all by myself. The dark era where, you know, you know, for basically an entire year, it was just me solo role playing, the characters, all the characters, for the longest time. So, when, you know, Kim would return to the role of steward, even though it'd be a new steward, and new adventures of steward, investigator steward, um, you know, like, it had forever changed, eventually Sky would, also join with his multiple characters that there are now, but yeah, like, you know, you know, like, the Dark Era was the hardest time, but yeah, I want, remember Rodgers and, kind of reflect because, it's been a while, so, I think it's time for, me to reflect, and, you know, I guess, you know, um, you know, you know, do something, to, reflect on Rodgers and, pay tribute to, that memory because it's been a long time since, I've, technically heard the voice of Riku as Rodgers, you know. I mean, there's still the Rodgers moments releasing when I'm, recording this, but eventually that will end, Eventually there will be a day where, you know, my insane schedule, you know, can't keep that memory alive any longer because, at the moment, it's January for me, so, it hasn't hit March 15th yet. I haven't yet, you know, you know, seen, that last Rodgers moment, again, other than me just opening it before to, show that it's been, 2 months since I, almost 3 months since, I uploaded it, but, into my insane schedule, but, nonetheless, eventually there will be an end, I mean, I can always, watch things again, re-watch the past as many times as I wanted to, eventually, you know, eventually I'm, dead, because we all die in the end, so, eventually I won't be able to rewatch it anymore. Sad fact of life. But, until that point, until, the end, it might as well be, the proper ending, after all this time, Rodgers, is no more, After that, unless Riku returns to the role, which I doubt, I hope, but I doubt it. The only place I could see it happening is in the Evil Steward arc, which, is probably not going to be made until June, July now, because, it's mid January and I don't think Kim's going to finish the Avatar in, you know, time before, holidays are over. So, yeah. I probably should propose to her an idea that I have, which is that maybe Stuart doesn't need, darkness powers, whatever, you know, you know, you know, because, I did finally ask her about the Avatar, you know, but yeah, so I should now propose that idea before it's too late, but most likely it'll be June, July before, um, you know, it happens. Meaning it'll be 3 years between the idea and um, and the actual execution. 3 years. God damn. You know, when I come up with an idea, usually the longest it incubates is for like maybe a month or so, you know, not a long time before I actually execute on an idea, you know. Obviously, there's some ideas that end up dying and, you know, get forgotten over time, um, but, you know, most of the time, an idea, whenever I have an idea, it's not long before it actually happens, But for this one, it's taken 3 years. I mean, it's not exactly Kim's fault because, the group did 4 parts, yeah, again. So when things restarted up, it wasn't even certain that, the evil steward arc would, continue. But nonetheless, eventually we did get to it in like December um, of like 2022, so a year and a half after the idea, we finally set up the seeds for it to happen. Um, and now it's been, basically a year at this point. So it may be, a year and a half between, technically the start of the Evil Steward arc. Like, technically it wasn't really evident, then, like, at first it was like, oh, what's this? What's this group that was gone Gordon, but Gordon gone Stewart, um, you know, you know, and, then, slow foreshadowing over the next, couple of episodes until, the most recent episode where, you know, hopefully it was the most evident, even if, even if it was only a short episode for the last episode, but still, the ending of that episode was perfect. Like, it was a perfect place to leave things off at. Michael in the void again, which, seeing that's where, basically technically ended in Sad Amelia, it's basically history repeating. And not to mention, I've recently brought back Sad Amelia, so, history is repeating itself, you know, and soon, hopefully, one of the biggest episodes will happen. Just, uh, I'm worried that Rick, the one that, technically, you know, was the cause of Stuart being evil in the first place, will be dead before the evil Stuart arc actually happens, I'm worried that, we won't even have done it or started it, before Rick's dead, because Michael's getting closer and closer to the end of the Mori, and there's only so long I can delay the inevitable. I do have a kind of backup plan, potentially, you know, and if my backup plan doesn't work out and they die as well, I have a backup plan. But, nonetheless, like, the longer it takes, I only can delay so much. And I had to finally reveal that Elise Stewart was possessed because it's taking way too long. Like, Michael knows at this point, like, he's connected the dots, he's figured out Rick, you know, you know, can't hide it anymore, it's impossible at this point to hide that Stewart, Michael knows now, you know, I really wanted to keep it a secret, technically, in character stuff, just in case, you never watch the streams. But that's, a huge, ask. So, I had to reveal it, like, it's just been too long, I honestly don't know what I'm gonna do if it keeps going on like this. Like, I can't delay it forever, Eventually things need to happen. Something needs to happen, There's too much writing on it. Like, there's too much, you know, you know, to it, But yeah, Evil Stewart will happen, hopefully soon. Hopefully in June or July. But yeah. But anyway, I've gone on a tangent on, a different character from Rodgers, Stewart. Let's talk more about, Rodgers, because this is supposed to be about Rodgers. Not about Stewart technically, even though Stewart, is Assistant Stewart, the, second main character technically. Yeah, again, I would argue Michael's also the second most important, but, technically, like, Stewart, is just more important than Michael, just. But as far as from my perspective goes, it's technically Michael. Technically. Yeah, Rodgers, 3 years, like, I miss Rodgers, the old days, like, that's the very reason, I began my characters, because thanks to Kim, if I had never met Kim, a lot would be different. And I recently had a realization that if I had never met Kim, I would have never been found out about the new Selena group. Meaning I would have never met Sky Slayer, you know. But the person, I constantly, you know, stream with and do stuff with now, you know, so frequently that, you know, basically sky's my streaming buddy at this point, you know, you know, and basically, my best friend, like, you know, you know, but if I had never met Kim, I would have never met Sky. Like, that's like two birds with one stone. Like, if I had never met my most important friend, Kim, who has endlessly inspired me, you know, you know, basically the whole reason, Michael and Jimmy and all this is this, without Kim, there's none of this, you know, you know, basically my most important friend, if I never met her, never would meet Sky. Hello, just a person, welcome. Welcome. The best show on Twitch? Oh, thank you. But yeah, butterfly effect, never met, if I never met Kim, never would have met Sky, I mean, there's still, the very small chance that I would have potentially, found out about, New Selena, but, that chance, is drastically smaller without, Kim, like, and in that timeline, if I somehow met Sky Slayer but never met Kim, I would be doing something potentially completely different, you know, you know, with Sky. Maybe I still would have gone into streaming somehow, but it would not be, characters and stuff. It may have just been, regular streaming of games and stuff. No characters at all. Maybe like sort of like joke characters, because I feel like I would have done that if I met Kim or not, her, like, because, Markiplier, does, his joke character, so obviously, that probably would have eventually, been like, hey, I should do like, a Markiplier thing, have multiple, like, potentially, jokey sort of characters, like, in the videos, So, there's still, potential, there would have been characters in some way, but not the same way without Kim, butterfly effect. Well, not just this. I also did Halo early in the stream. So, not just one thing. I do a multitude of things in the stream. But yeah. I just like to reflect on, Rodgers because, it's important to me. And I thought, I'd do this as a video because, seeing, it's been 3 years, you know, you know, it's perfect timing, I guess. Perfect timing, you know. It'd be very, funny if it's absolutely perfect timing. That'd be, a funny coincidence, but I don't think it is. Because I don't know honestly which date Michael was created as a character, you know. So yeah. But nonetheless, you know, it's important. But yeah, Rodgers will be remembered, I guess, you know, for the rest of my life, the very reason, there's Michael and Jimmy and all that, it'll always be remembered. But yeah, I think I've said enough. So yeah, I'll move on to the next thing. So that'll be the end of this video. So yeah, peace.